Let's get into this particular story. Again, this comes the way of gamesradar.com once again. Now, this was posted by Catherine Lewis, again, written on Halloween. And it says Marvel's Wolverine reportedly loses its creative director to Xbox's Perfect Dark as Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart leads step up to fill the void. Look, Fuzzy, this is big news. It's big news, and I'm going to tell you why it's big news. Because I'm a Wolverine fan. Most people in this chat probably love Wolverine one way or another. Deadpool and Wolverine just broke every rated R record in the history of rated R film. They broke records for Marvel and the MCU, and we know that they're going to have Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman doing these characters. Like they said, funnily, hilarious enough in the film, they're going to be doing it to their 90. They're going to make a bunch of money with these actors playing and portraying these characters. When it comes to gaming, right now, Marvel is, when you equate Marvel as a brand, most people will say that's PlayStation because of Spider-Man and because of Miles Morales. Wolverine surprised a lot of people many, many years ago when it was announced. It was just a CG of him in a bar, and everyone went crazy, and rightfully so. It's Wolverine, and it's Insomniac. Now, granted, if you don't have confidence in Ted Price and the team, that's fine. I'm not going to fight you on it. I happen to really, really like Insomniac, but there is a problem here. There's a problem that the creative director has gone, and not because he got done. See, this is the difference, Fuzzy. When a creator or a creative director leaves a company, it's usually at the end of development for a current project that they're working on, because that project is now coming to a close. They're going to be getting ready to make it gold, and it's going to go live, and they're going to sell it, and people are going to play it and enjoy it, and hopefully it gets high scores. That's not what happened here. From what we are hearing and from the Game File interview where we're getting this information from, it was because of creative differences. And some of those creative differences are certainly coming out of what people thought and said online after the game basically leaked online, which is a freaking big problem. So let me read some of this from the article, and then we will get your hot take. We're going to elaborate on this a bit. It says this: there's reportedly been a bit of a change in the development team for Marvel's Wolverine, with two of the leads behind Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart reportedly taking over from the previous creative director and game director. That's according to a new report from GameFile via VGC, which claims that Rift Apart creative director Marcus Smith and game director Mike Daly will be taking those same roles for the upcoming Wolverine game. They'll apparently be replacing previous creative director Brian Horton, who reportedly departed the studio this summer to work on Xbox's upcoming Perfect Dark reboot, as well as game director Cameron Christian, who's claimed to be saying at Insomniac Games, just holding a different role. Now, again, he's staying there for how long we don't know, but let me continue the article. GameFile says that according to its sources, the Wolverine dev team came to creative decisions surrounding the game. Smith and Daly have plenty of experience that should hopefully bode well for the upcoming release. Rift Apart is an excellent PS5 game itself, and I absolutely agree. If you have not played it, it is like playing a Pixar film. It is phenomenal. But the pair also held those same director roles on Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and that's very interesting. On top of that, according to the article, Smith was a creative director on Marvel's Spider-Man and both Marvel's Spider-Man and Miles Morales, while Daly was a lead designer on both of those titles. Needless to say, they know their superhero games, and while we still don't know exactly how Marvel's Wolverine will actually play, it sounds like the pair will be well placed to help bring that to life. So, look, Fuzzy, again, is it doom and gloom for Wolverine as a game? It is not. You have seasoned veterans who are integral, in my opinion, based on the information that we just read, not only on Rift Apart, which was a phenomenal game, but they've worked with Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. Now, that's great. Is it problematic though? I will only time is going to tell, because one of the biggest complaints from the Wolverine leak is that it felt too much like watching people play Spider-Man or Miles Morales. The way he climbed up walls, the way he was running on rooftops. I mean, listen, that's not how Wolverine operates normally. And again, this is Insomniac, so they are going to tell their own version of Wolverine, which is great. And they've changed some things with Spider-Man 2018. They changed some things with Miles Morales. They certainly changed things with Venom in Spider-Man 2, which again a lot of people didn't like. But you know what? It's their story. Let them tell it how they want. I will say though, this game was originally supposed to come out in 2025. I do not see this game coming out at least until 2026, possibly 2027, because from what we're hearing and what's going on, again, it's just rumors at this point. They have to remake this game from the ground up. And that's because that source code was leaked online. People were playing it. People probably are still playing Wolverine right now on their PCs. They cannot put that source code out. They have to build this game from scratch. And again, when you lose two creative directors, both for the game and the actual creative director, and you start hearing that there were creative differences, the game is probably not in the greatest of shapes. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, I know a lot of people were hoping for like a Ratchet and Clank, sequel, and the leak from Insomniac, which I know some outlets didn't want to talk about because they're a little too close to the sun, kind of thing. There may have been some hope that there would be a Ratchet and Clank thing, but it looks like that cancellation was probably true. And then moving those directors onto Wolverine, if that didn't put a nail in the coffin of Ratchet and Clank having a sequel this generation, I don't know what will. That's one part of it. The other part of it is, I believe the creative director that left wound up going over to the Initiative, which, if I'm not mistaken, they lost the creative director to Insomniac with what's his name, Drew.
Oh yeah, I know. Yes, he went back to Insomniac, so kind of like they switched places. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so they're playing musical chairs, which happens in the industry. But like Boom said earlier, it's usually at the end of a project. When it's in the middle of a project, it's not necessarily on good terms. It's one of those things where somebody didn't feel like they were being appreciated or didn't like the direction that the project was going, or something to that effect. I mean, people change jobs for a number of reasons, but this one sounds like it's maybe they were working on a certain vision of what the game should be, and now they're being told that they have to label it with or fill it with microtransactions or whatever the case may be. There might be some of those types of disputes going on behind the scenes. So having it where one guy leaves, goes to the Initiative, another one takes a different role within the company, kind of thing. I'm not going to, say how far of a delay this may cause, but I think Boom is right, where I wouldn't really expect this in 2025. I think Ghost of Yotai is your only 2025 first party that is exclusive to the platform. Well, then again, there's Fair Game, but given how Concord and Firewalk were treated, I'm hoping that they've learned from that and apply that to Raven Studios as well as Fair Game in general. Or Haven Studio, I should say. So that way they don't have another Concord situation. But Wolverine 2026 or 2027, whatever the case may be, which I guess would help matters for them, considering if Xbox goes with their next gen console in 2026, they're going to need that heavy hitter to draw attention away from next generation and next generation titles, possibly like Blade and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting, but I just, the limited information that we have now, as optimistic as I would like to be, it doesn't look good in the grand scheme of things as far as with these types of changes at this point in the project. I know people used to say doom and gloom with Halo, and when it released outside of the multiplayer content, it released in a fabulous state. Now they did delay it a year. Will we see a similar situation with Wolverine with these types of changes? And especially after the leak and seeing what it looks like on PC, yes, that's very early in development. There's tons of time to, tighten up the animations and whatnot, and polish a lot of the movement. But I don't know. I'm excited for the game still, but I'm my expectation is tempered at this point, just because I don't think that this is something that we're going to see next year. 2026 seems like a more realistic time frame at this point, and I'm just surprised that a lot of news outlets aren't really talking about this. Like, had this been Xbox, which we can go back in history and look at every time, even if the janitor leaves a studio at Xbox, it's like front page news in the gaming media. It's like, Tony is no longer working at 343 or Halo Studios. He decided to take his mop elsewhere. But who cares? Like, but then again, when it's PlayStation, they laid off a bunch of people and the guy went on a shopping spree for cars to pick up one of his coworkers, kind of thing. Yeah, that gets kind of brushed under the rug. But I don't have the most that much confidence as far as what things are going to look like, at least until we see another unveiling of it, which will probably be maybe in 2025 to tell us it's going to be coming out in 2026.
Yeah,
I could totally see them saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to show Wolverine at this state of play," and then at the end it's like fall of 26 or something like that, and piss people off. But they'll just be happy to see it again, type of thing. But yeah, it sucks. Hopefully they can get it figured out. I mean, mismanagement used to be supposedly, according to gaming media, only an Xbox thing, but maybe it's a Sony thing now as well, it seems. Who knows? We'll see.